On October 7th, 2023, a tragic accident struck Shishapangma, 8,027 meters, the 14th highest mountain in the world, located in Tibet. An avalanche swept away multiple climbers, killing 2 American mountaineers, Gina Marie Rzucidlo and Jackson Marvel, and seriously injuring a Tibetan climber. The incident occurred during a period of unstable weather, raising concerns about the risks of post-monsoon ascents on the world's highest peaks. Victims, Gina Marie Rzucidlo and Jackson Marvel, were both experienced climbers. Gina Marie Rzucidlo, originally from the US, was pursuing the dream of summiting all 14 8,000ers. She had already climbed several of these peaks and was regarded as a strong, determined mountaineer. Both climbers had trained extensively for extreme conditions and had been involved in ambitious expeditions before. However, no amount of experience can fully eliminate the risks posed by nature, especially in high-altitude environments where avalanches, extreme weather, and altitude sickness are constant threats. The story of the competition between Gutu and Gina Marie Rzucidlo is also fascinating but tragic, as they competed to become the first American woman to climb all 14 8,000ers. They both were so deep into their mission that they compromised their safety at times. The climax of the story is that they both ended up dying at the same mountain, their last mountain, Shishapangma. They lost their lives on the same day, albeit on different sides of the mountain, due to a major avalanche. The irony, how they both couldn't become the first American woman to climb all 14 8,000ers. Both Rzucidlo and Gutu got so focused on the competition that they somehow lost control of the situation and the entire team suffered from it, said Kiani, another female mountaineer. I have been on several expeditions with Gina, and I would say that I know her pretty well, says Tracy Metcalf. I have really enjoyed climbing with Gina over the last few years. She was known for being extremely uplifting and funny. Her infectious laugh could get the whole room laughing. Metcalf admits that the competition between Rzucidlo and Gutu had turned toxic in the last 3 months. I think that Gina was very interested in being the first US woman to complete all 14 peaks, Metcalf said. She was surprised at how quickly Anna was able to climb them. Gutu was new to the climbing scene. Gina Rzucidlo set off before the elite Imagine Nepal team reached the mountain, but stopped at Camp 2 because there was no open trail and no ropes, Naila Kiani said. The joint team of Elite Exped and Imagine Nepal reached Shishapangma Base Camp on October 6, 2023 and started right away. They hurried to Camp 1, planning October 7 as their summit day. Uta Ibrahimi, also on the mountain, said both Gina Rzucidlo and Gutu were on oxygen when they arrived at Camp 1. It's very unusual to use oxygen this low, especially on lesser 8,000ers like 8,027 meters Shishapangma. But it is credible that both wanted every advantage in their race to the summit. Gutu was supported by Migmar and Karma Guyalzin, and Rzucidlo was guided by Kami Rita Sherpa, and especially by Tenjin Lama, one of the strongest of all Sherpa climbers working today. Meanwhile, beyond Camp 2, everybody seemed to be waiting for us to break the trail and fix the ropes, said Kiani. It was really hard going for us. As dawn broke, they were approaching the upper slopes of Shishapangma. Like most teams in recent years, they didn't go for the classic route that followed the long, sharp summit ridge and across the central summit. Above Camp 3, they deviated toward the main summit wall in order to go up one of the snow couloirs. They aimed to reach the summit ridge as close as possible to the highest point, or at least, That is what most did. I kept pace with Anna for some time, but eventually I had to stop to take my sunglasses out and fell behind, Nayla Kiani said. That probably saved my life. Kiani says she wasn't sure if Gutu was heading for the wrong summit or hoping to take the classic route to the beginning of the ridge. After some thought, I decided to keep walking toward Camp 3, which looked like a longer but safer and correct route, she said. Gutu's team leader, Nirmal Purja, was far behind because he was without O2, climbers confirmed. Meanwhile, Gina Rzucidlo was still a little below and on a different line, but hurrying up. Gina Rzucidlo's group overtook us at an almost terrifying speed, Naoki Ishikawa said. There was no fixed rope, so Tenjin Lama took the lead with 2 axes and pulled Gina with a rope. This video by Nayla Kiani shows the remarkable speed at which Kami Rita, in blue, passed them. Rzucidlo and Tenjin are the 2 small figures above him. By then, the 2 women and their Sherpas were climbing along different lines. Right after the women, it was me and Kilu Sherpa, one of the Winter K2 summiters, Naoki Ishikawa reported. Anna climbed in a diagonal, directly toward the summit, while Gina chose a line going from left to right, across a gentle slope that had to be traversed. Nayla Kiani added, I also kept climbing until Nims came and told me to stop, to take a break. Sirbaz Khan, like Nims, climbing without oxygen, came too, and we stopped, although I had not reached a flat spot yet. At the traverse slightly ahead, Ishikawa and Kilu took advantage of the easy terrain to take a rest and eat a little under a serac. The rest of the group was in the same area. We were at the traverse when the first avalanche happened, Sasko said. Nims suddenly shouted, Avalanche, avalanche, said Kiani. We heard a powder avalanche coming from above, Ishikawa wrote. We were protected by the serac, and nothing happened to us. The radios soon reported that Gutu, Karma Gyalzin, and Migmar had been caught in the slide. It soon gave word that Gutu and Migmar were dead. Several sources on the mountain claim that base camp did tell Rzucidlo to stop and turn around. Kiani said someone told her to keep climbing, but she refused. Tracy Metcalf went down with her. They didn't see the second avalanche. Gina Rzucidlo's group had continued climbing. Ishikawa contacted Mingma Ji behind, who decided it was too dangerous to proceed. Ishikawa took a photo of where, at 7,800 meters, they turned around. But that was not the end, she said. As we started down, the snow rose again around us. The accident occurred as several climbers attempted to reach the summit of Shishapangma. The exact altitude where the avalanche struck is unclear, but it happened at a high elevation where the snowpack was fragile due to recent heavy snowfall. Avalanches are a major hazard in the Himalayas, particularly in the post-monsoon season, September to October. Freshly deposited snow often remains unstable, and any additional weight, whether from climbers, wind accumulation, or natural shifts in the snowpack, can trigger a catastrophic slide. Reports suggest that the avalanche hit multiple climbers, with Rzucidlo and Marvel suffering fatal consequences. Another climber, a Tibetan mountaineer, was critically injured but survived. The force of an avalanche at such altitudes can be devastating, burying climbers under tons of snow and ice, making survival incredibly difficult. Rescue operations in the death zone, above 7,500 meters, are notoriously difficult due to extreme cold, lack of oxygen, and the physical exhaustion of climbers and rescuers. While teams on Shishapangma attempted to provide immediate assistance, there was little they could do for those caught in the avalanche's direct path. At such high altitudes, helicopter rescues are often impossible due to thin air and unpredictable winds. Ground teams have to conduct searches on foot, putting their own lives at risk in unstable conditions. Given these limitations, recovering the bodies of fallen climbers can be an arduous or even impossible task. Shishapangma, despite being the lowest of the 8,000-meter peaks, is still extremely dangerous. Located in Tibet, it is one of the least climbed 8,000ers due to restricted access and frequent avalanches. Several factors made the autumn 2023 season particularly hazardous. Recent heavy snowfall made the slopes dangerously unstable. Temperature fluctuations contributed to weak snow layers. High winds may have loaded certain sections of the mountain with even more snow, increasing the avalanche risk. Even experienced climbers cannot always predict when conditions will turn deadly, and in high-altitude mountaineering, the margin for error is razor-thin. The deaths serve as a harsh reminder of the inherent dangers of extreme mountaineering. Every year, climbers from around the world attempt to conquer the world's highest peaks, but not all return. The Himalayas have claimed the lives of many legendary alpinists, including George Mallory, Anatoly Bukreev, and Ueli Stek. Despite advances in weather forecasting, climbing gear, and safety protocols, nature remains unpredictable. Their story joins the many tragic chapters of high-altitude mountaineering, where even the most skilled and prepared climbers can be caught off guard by the raw power of the mountains. Would you like me to expand on specific aspects, such as the history of Shishapangma accidents or details on avalanche risk management? Subscribe the video